Welcome to this Q&A on grounding. So someone has asked, how do you stay grounded? And I think this is a really great question because it's actually not as simple. Oh, no, it is. It's very, very simple, but it's not as simple as a reason as to why we are asking that. Because grounding isn't a one cause thing. Like when we say we're ungrounded, it's not because of one reason, right? There's multiple reasons why we are not grounded. We could not be grounded because our energy field is so out there that we're literally spilling out. And then we might need to take more of a grounding approach that looks after the subtle bodies, the watery bodies, the astral bodies, for example. We might be grounded because our mind and body are disconnected. We're too much in the mind. Then we would need to get in the body to ground. Right? This question is so great because it actually invites you to get to know your body's language better and to get you to know your own energy system better. So I'm going to lay out a few different ways of grounding. Some of them quite generic, so you'll have already heard of them, but then some of them are a little bit more specific and helpful. And of course, if you do have questions, you can go to my website, aliceheath.com, and ask them in the comments box there on the contact me page, because I do always try to do a video response where possible. So traditional ways of grounding, getting outside, barefoot on the ground, hugging a tree. I personally feel they're overused and not as effective as what we would like them to be. Yes, if you spend all your time outside, great, but is it really that you are walking barefoot on the ground? Or is it really that you're outside breathing the air, getting fresh oxygen, releasing more carbon dioxide, moving the body, feeling the elements? Yes, of course, there is scientific evidence to back up the electrons and the free radicals, la la la. But what if it's actually a little bit more than that? Because, for example, if your mind and your body are at war with one another, if they are contrasting a little bit, which happens in today's world because, well, not just today's world, in every world, because we fracture our mind here, right? We fracture the psyche. That's what we do on Earth. We come here, we forget everything, we fracture the psyche, and in so doing, we start to heal, and then we start to relearn, unlearn, relearn, and then discover our path and what it is that we're meant to do. But what's really cool about that is if you're feeling ungrounded and like kind of dizzy and out there, you need to move the body and get back in there. So actually moving the body, maybe not too vigorously at first, but moving the body is going to help. Eating whole foods is going to help. If you think about what grounding is, it's bringing energy high to low. So if you're eating something and it's a physical food, especially if it's a whole food, if it's something healthy and more natural, then the pathway it's going to take is actually going to go all the way down, right? So you are literally grounding that food within you and helping anchor a gravitational point within you. Now, of course, there are friends on here who are breatharian, fruitarian, liquidarian, who also watch this channel. And that's going to look a little bit different for you. If your diet is mainly liquids, then you might find yourself swishing about, right? And I find this whenever I'm doing a breatharian few days or breatharian weekend where my intake is lighter forms of energy. If I'm in a space where I'm only having liquids, then I will find myself a little bit more lightheaded. Ironically, I don't find that when I'm completely dry and living off pure light prana and chi, and I'm not intaking it through physical food or liquid food. I actually don't find myself ungrounded at all. I find myself incredibly grounded, but you're also incredibly connected when you're doing that because you've got no external force swaying you. Now let's look at external force. All the energy that is around you as well. You might be ungrounded because your energy field is just flooding out, it's pouring out. Your auric field might be perforated, and you might have all these perforations in the field of you where all of your emotional energy is like, it's not processing, it's not alchemizing. You've gone through something and your body wants to release it, but you're not moving enough. You're feeling a lot, but not actually processing it. Right, so instead of actually reconciling the psyche, you've got all this unalchemized emotion within you, which is actually a lot more the case than what we realize, trying to exit, trying to find its way home physically moving the body with physical exercise is actually going to be the best thing to get that out. So that is doing something where you're breathing the air, getting the cardio up, getting the breath work up. And that might sound like something that you don't want to do, but actually it also develops your will, your drive, your center of gravity, which is in the lower part of the core, the lower dantian, right? That's the center of you where your navel is. It's not up here in the heart. That's like, if you actually look and measure, that's not the center of you. The heart isn't the center. The center of you is down in the navel. So the reason why I say this as well is because, like, if we're not working with where our energy needs to be, if it's too high up, we're going to find ourselves ungrounded because we're not helping that energy get down lower. We're not cultivating it there. Or it's just spilling out through things that aren't necessarily the most healthiest for us. You can ground it in salt water or sea. Of course, there is, as is very popular now, scientific evidence about being outside and connecting with nature and what it does with the free radicals and the electrons within us, and the same with salt water, and the same with certain foods that we eat as well. You know, you drink coconut water, it's going to have the electrolytes in it to balance out the free radicals, and you can find that in foods, right? But at the same time as well, it's one of those where if you're ungrounded, listen to what your body is saying it's ungrounded for. Usually when we are feeling a certain way, like, oh, I'm feeling out of sorts, I don't really want to spend time with people, and blah, blah, blah. Ironically, it's usually the opposite that we need. We actually need to get out. We need to get out of the walls of our home and spend time with people. And we are electromagnetic currents within our own right. We are nuclear energy within our own right. But we also help balance one another out. We are social beings. Our body chemistry helps ground us. That's what it's trying to do all the time. So when we feel low and, you know, our body chemistry is saying, hey, I'm low, do something to get the oxytocin up, do something to get the serotonin up, do something to get the dopamine up, right? Serotonin and oxytocin probably better than the dopamine. But the dopamine is the one that will get people quickest. So, but the point of saying that is your body's always trying to balance itself. So if you're looking to ground, then yes, you can go outside and stick your feet on the earth, but that's not really going to do what your body actually needs. That's just kind of going through the motions and trying to bypass what your body actually needs rather than listening to it. You know, I saw in a video somewhere 10 minutes outside with my feet on the grass, it's going to ground me. And then you come back in and you're like, oh, I'm so tired. Go outside and breathe the air. It's less about the oxygen intake and more about the carbon dioxide output, right? And then you're contributing to symbiosis to an ecosystem, because this is the thing, when you're near nature, when you're near trees and plants, they breathe carbon dioxide and release oxygen. We need them, and they need us to breathe out the carbon dioxide. It's perfect symbiosis. That is grounding. And it shows it in science through electrons and free radicals and stuff like that. Now, isn't that cool? Is it not only through our breath and through touch, through osmosis, through our breath as well, right? Through how our body operates, it's always trying to balance itself. So here's the thing, here's what I'm going to put to you. If you're feeling ungrounded in the sense that you just don't feel like you're in your body, then you need to do something to put yourself back in your body. A very easy way to do that initially is if you feel like you stand up and you're just not aware, you're knocking into yourself, you've got allergies starting to come through, you're sneezing a bit, you know, pat your body. Actually pat your body, get yourself back in your body, bring your attention back in, get the heart rate up. To be in the body, you actually have to be in the body. The mind has to be in the body rather than just trying to think its way out of it. The mind can't do it on its own. The mind only exists because of the body that it's in to translate the energy anyway. Make sense? Mind's enclosed, it's in here. Mind can't see. Skull all around it. I mean, like, there's, you know, sac fluid, brain fluid thing. You know? I know I said amniotic sac, or something else. The point is that the brain needs the body and the body needs the brain. Another symbiotic relationship. So it can't be too heavily weighed in one capacity, because when that happens, what we do is we end up getting really static. If we're having the wrong foods, we get static. It's almost like the old televisions when you used to put your hand across them and it'd be static and you'd feel the crackling. It's like that's what your energy field is doing. So you can look at what you're putting inside: whole foods, grounding foods, foods from the earth, foods of color, right? If you think of the path that food takes, you're going up to down. That is the grounding process, going from high to low, right? Grounding down to earth. If you think about where our center of gravity is inside us, it's not up in the heart. That's not our center. If you actually look on the human, it's not the center. The center is where the dantian is, lower dantian, navel, below the navel. That's where the center of the energy field is for the human. And so we're not actually in there. We're compressing that part of our body. We all have digestive issues and intolerances now. And, it's all because we're just compressing. And we're suffocating that energy center. And then we wonder why our solar plexus is always triggered and why our energy field is always spiked and just, it doesn't help. So you got to move the body, especially the legs, right? The legs age first. So you got to move. And the more you do it, the quicker your body goes, oh, okay, I like this. But it's not going to want to do it at first. Of course, meditating always helps as well, because meditating is helping slow down the mind. Being static or ungrounded is because you've got too many fractured thoughts. Mind is everywhere. Here, there, everywhere. Thinking about this person, this time, this day, that day. Worrying about this, worrying about that. Mind's fractured, which is normal. It's a normal state of humanity. But at the same time, meditating will also help, because you're focusing then on your breath. You're focusing on a single point of concentration. And what it ends up doing is it ends up helping tame the mind. The more you practice taming the mind, the easier it is to actually just get back in your body. Easier it is to understand and know your body. It's really good. There's a lot of emotion that we all have within our body as well. The body is built up of crystallized emotion that hasn't processed or alchemized. The emotion showing us where the gap is between the fractured aspects of our psyche. And what's really powerful about that wisdom, about that awareness, is that the emotion is always going to want to find its way home. It always wants to alchemize, because that's its job. The job of emotion is alchemy and guidance. And so it's like having a broken record that's stuck on repeat, Not that we have records anymore, but you know what I mean. To get that record off repeat, you got to change it. You got to let it move. Clean the needle, whatever. And we've got to do that with emotion as well. So once again, we have emotion stored in these key parts of our body. Move the body, even if you're just like bringing your arms up and hitting underneath your armpits, you're activating the liver chi, you're activating your stomach and spleen, you're moving energy. Same with the lungs. These are all places that we store energy and emotion. You can actually move the body, move the waste, right? Let the emotion move through you. Yes, you can bathe in salt water. Yes, you can go into the ocean, even better, because the ocean is living and a bath is not. Just like you can drink water from fresh fruit that you've juiced, living water, rather than water from the tap or a bottle, which is not. Grounding is also it's about life force energy grounding. It's about life force energy concentration and refinement of stream of consciousness. And if we are not practicing refining consciousness, if we're not practicing taming the mind, if we're not practicing those things, then it's only natural that we're not going to feel grounded, that we're going to be picking up everyone else's energy. On a quantum level, that's what we're doing. And then obviously, as you get down from the quantum levels, you then go into the psychology of things, you go into the energetics of things, you go into all these other things. The physicality of energy, So this is perhaps a slightly different video than what is normally offered for something as simple as grounding. But I hope you find it helpful. And feel welcome to go to my website, aliceheath.com. To submit questions if you have any that you think the general public would also like to know an answer for, because if you're thinking it, chances are they're thinking it. Of course, anything more specific to you, I would recommend booking one of the guidance sessions or private appointments. But yeah, it's a joy to record these videos. Hope it's helpful. Just remember, it is your natural state to be grounded and connected. Your body is always going to strive for that. It's the mind that is afraid of that. Just because the mind's job is to notice patterns and to stop uncomfortable situations occurring, and then we adopt patterns that then propagate uncomfortable situations. So it's just about helping retrain the mind, right? By allowing the body to balance, helping bring both mind, body together. And as you do so, your spirit glows. So much love to each and every one of you. Hope this helps, and I'll see you soon.